I don't know much time, surprise.
Okay, y'all, we're gonna call this meeting to order. Welcome to our third call. President Hall, present. State Vice President Navarro,
President voting.
Vice President Padilla,
President voting.
Treasurer Smith,
President voting.
Chief Justice Davidson present, Associate Justice Young, Associate Justice West,
Here, present.
Representative Delaco,
Present voting.
Representative Hupnagel,
President voting.
Representative Patel,
President voting.
Representative Quintus,
President voting.
Representative Fullerton,
Present voting.
Representative Jed,
Present voting.
Representative Heinke, Representative Khan,
Present voting.
Representative Espinola Jimenez,
President voting.
Oathdriver, Representative Iale, Representative Grunner, Representative Sharp,
President voting.
Representative Williams.
President voting.
Okay, great. So move on to adoption of the minutes. I believe they were received and everyone had a chance to review them. Are there any objections? Motion.
Motion to vote.
Second.
All those in favor of adopting the minutes from last meeting, please raise your hand. Is that them? All those opposed? Can I have all those in favor raise their hands one more time? Okay, please lower them. All those opposed? Any abstentions? And the minutes are adopted with a vote of 14-0. So with that, we move on to officer reports. Start, I shockingly have not a whole lot for you. A lot of the updates I would have given you would have come if you had met with the deans yesterday, like we were scheduled to. There was a rescheduling of that. It's now going to be happening tomorrow. So I'll be following up with them on a lot of the concerns that we had kind of gathered before break and some of the things that they were supposed to follow up with over break that I have just blocked and didn't see an update on, including the recycling bins, including like the water and the restrooms. So, and including some of the facility updates that they were supposed to be like conducting checks on. So that is something I will address with them tomorrow on just where we are on the progress of that, because that slow has to was supposed to have been done months ago at this point, and still no, and that's pretty easy. So that's something to follow up with. I know there's also concerns about the cherry room and just the use of it. I know that some boards and committees have been told that it will be strictly not available to student or student groups to use for student events. And that will be strictly enforced going forward. But then there are some events that do have student orgs that are able to use the room. So just gonna ask the deans to see the direct policy and to see what can be done to expand it as much as possible so that we have as much access to the one open clear room on our campus. So that is something to look towards. Also, I guess the last thing is the SBA Gala. So that is happening moving forward. We narrowed down guess what's on that in terms of with the budgeting. I'm going to be working with Representative Patel on the planning of that. So she's taking lead in charge on that. So we're really excited. And we'll probably have more details for you at the next meeting on exact details. So expect that information to come soon. At the gala, we will be awarding 2 awards, one to an executive committee and one to a student organization, just that we as executive board feel based off of this year and activities, initiatives that have been done on behalf of the student body. These boards and committees have done exceptional service to the school overall. I know that currently student organization achievement is not something that's recognized by administration, especially not at graduation. They said they'll consider it going forward, but we'll see how that goes. So I want to make sure that there's an ability for people to be recognized for the work that they do here on our school for our student organizations within the SBA, because it is very important. And so the executive board and I discussed, and committees that were put forward for the award will be receiving the award at the gala, and will receive their invitations are the Mental Health and Wellness Committee and a representative from the Art and Fashion Law Society. So those are the two workers. So they'll be receiving those notifications and emails and invitations to the gala as well. So that's something to look forward to. We will be giving speeches, and I'm going to ask all of you, not each to individually give a speech, of course, but the 1Ls, the 2Ls, and 3Ls to respectively vote for someone in your, just not necessarily like it's not an award, but you will give the speech on behalf of your representatives, just based off of your experience this year with the SBA and just, you know, the end of the year wrap up. So be thinking about that, be considering like who you would want to give the speech on your behalf, drafting up something, not gonna be anything long, probably longer than 5 minutes, please. So it's gonna be like fun, you know, it's a way to celebrate really the work that we've done this year and how far we've come, and really look forward to transitioning into next year. So that's what's happening with the gala, and I will be providing you all with the updates as I receive them. With that, I yield my time to organizations.
Something I've been working on is I've reached out to all the organizations, just so we can work on some constitutional updates that were passed previously. So when it's updating their discrimination clause, making sure that they have a standard or a process in mind when it comes to line of succession. That was the word, line of succession, and then also how to what to do in the event that every member of the executive board, resign. Resign. So that's something that I've been talking about, making sure that we're updated. Also reminded about elections, making sure that they know to reach out to the elections committee in case they need help. We're also working on affinity group standardization, kind of working together to see what kind of standards we're going to hold each other to, what goes into making an affinity group recognized, just so we can have some uniformity across the board. And also we have a speaker from the Democratic Law Society, Christina Costanzo. Zoom. Okay. Christina, if you want to meet.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi. I'm here on behalf of the Law School Democrats. I just wanted to say, just for the record, I know it was mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, just some of the issues that have been going on with the Cherry Room, if that's okay. And like our experience as an org, it'll be brief.
Oh yeah.
We just had recently we tried to book it for 2 different events, and obviously similar experiences for other organizations were denied for kind of vague reasons. We tried to get clarification and didn't really get any. Our president, Addison Horsey, had responded saying like, here are some other events that are happening right now that are very similar to the event that we want to hold. It doesn't really make sense why we were being denied. And I understand that they're trying to change the reasons that what they're using the Cherry Room for. But the fact that there wasn't really any notice caused a lot of issues, because in the past, obviously we've had no issues. We just request it and get approved. And so we kind of relied on that, and we reached out to the professional community and got speakers for our event, and ended up having to go back to them and cancel with them, which obviously reflects poorly on our school and our organization and our members, which isn't great. And I think just obviously it would be great if we could get the Cherry Room back to being able to be used for organizations going forward, but at the very least, just get some clarification on what its intended use is going to be going forward, just so we know. Well, that was kind of it.
Thank you. That information is very helpful to take back to administration, especially if there's a double standard going on and there's similar events that are being allowed to be held in the cherry room and then orgs are being denied and being told different reasons. So I will definitely look into getting just the policy on paper, just so that way the student body could see it and figure out what ways we need to adjust it. So,
That'd be great. Thank you.
I yield my time to Vice President Diaz.
Hi, guys. I have a lot. Firstly, Dennis is here from ACDC. They have things that they would like to say.
Hello. So I'm recently co-chair along with Sierra, and I wanted to say something about the situation as I know it regarding ADA violations at our school. So basically, it's important, I think, that all students are aware of what the school has done in the past, is currently doing, and is likely to do in the future. And unfortunately, this includes retaliating against students, both in the ADA sense and also in the legal career sense. So there are numerous pending lawsuits currently involving the school violating the ADA. There's other ones as well that are not ADA related. And I'd be happy to provide more information about this another time as well. But this point of this being a comment to everybody is that I was told by a professor who I trust very much not to push too far at the school in my individual capacity, because they have basically ruined people's legal careers by making things up. And then maybe you don't get admitted to the bar association because the school gets to weigh in. So I'm not saying this to strike fear. I don't think that they're going to do it if you act in your capacity as the SBA, because that's the rule that you're part of, and that's why I'm glad to be in this position, so I can continue to fight with some authority to do so. But I wanted people to know that there is currently something severely wrong with the administration of the school, which please be careful. That is it for now. Which way you'll my time.
You're good. You're good. Thank you. And then we can talk more at our meeting. And then I had a couple other announcements from committees who weren't able to be here. Firstly, from mental health and wellness, Linda was saying also, just for the record, they were trying to have the cherry room for their day of wellness on Saturday, but they were denied because the board of trustees has stated that no student organizations may use the room. They also didn't really get a reason why they couldn't, and they have also seen the many other events that were being advertised for the cherry room, just for the record again. And then secondly, they are having their day of wellness on Saturday. There is yoga, Chipotle, raffles. It's really cool. The flyers are up in the hallway. There you go. Also, social affairs. There's been questions about the tickets for the Red Sox game and the boat cruise. The boat cruise, they can't do anything about because the deposit has already been paid and they do not have a bigger boat available. So they can't. Sorry. And then they are looking into adding tickets for the Red Sox game, but they just have to look into it more. More to come on that. Fundraising, the cultural event has been postponed to next Tuesday, 2 to 5, still in 501. And DEI is working on scheduling a spring listening session for the end of the month. So that'll be fun and very cool. You guys should go. I will be there. Also, I emailed the committees this week about our monthly meetings, but also we're going to be doing committee charters. And it's just going to be like outlining, like it's kind of like this one that I worked on. Outlining everything with the committee, the purpose, the authority, the positions.
So with the committee charters, again, that's something we're gonna be drafting and working on and working with committee chairs to draft, and then we're gonna bring them back to you to vote on probably at the last GA meeting, that just seems like the most feasible. Because it's also going to be creating like positions for the committees, just to give them some help with some of the events and the work that they do throughout the years and give more title and standardization. So expect to see those charters as well.
And then my last announcement, which is fun, the t-shirts are very close to becoming a tangible thing. They are going to be limited. The first order is going to be limited. Just so you know, it's first come, first serve. I have created the order form, but we have not sent it out yet because there's some logistics that I have to figure out. But hopefully by the end of this week, there will be an announcement, and they should get here early to mid-April. So, yeah. And with that, I yield my time to Treasurer Smith.
In the coming weeks, I'll have stuff to send out to all orgs and committees regarding their budgets for the year and the semester, and templates they're going to be required to follow for record keeping. At the next GA meeting, I expect to have a revised budget committee rules of order to follow some decisions that were made recently to have better record keeping systems in place. So we'll be voting on that in a week, 2 weeks, and other than that, I have no other updates. So I yield my time to Chief Justice Davidson.
Hi everyone. So I have a couple things. First of all, as you all know, we have a bill up for a vote today. We'll talk about that more later. But we'll also have some more coming up at our next GA meeting. We just need to meet one more time as the Constitution Bylaws Committee just to kind of solidify some things. And then also, as I know that you all know, there was a decision made regarding the issues with WLC. If you have not seen the email, you were all sent 2 separate opinions, as there were 2 separate complaints. So if you read those, they're there. We're going to start posting the opinions on Canvas so that anyone that subscribes to the Canvas page is able to access them more for like a transparency thing. Actually, for a transparency thing. But yeah, if you have any questions about anything, just let me know. And yeah, I yield my time.
Was there something?
Yeah, I forgot one. Lastly, I don't know if you guys got this today, but just as a general announcement, Public Service is having a fundraiser for Turkey and Syria, fundraising for the recent earthquakes that they had. It's tomorrow. It'll be all day, 9:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. in the lobby. There's still some time slots that they are needing help filling, tabling. So if you have any time and you want to help out, the link is in your email. But also just come on and support. So that's all.
So with that, we move on to representation.
Jasmine.
Yeah, I do have one. Just quickly, I know you guys talked about it earlier with the boat cruise and the Red Sox game for the 3Os. And just some students were kind of, this is for, I guess, for the future. Some students were kind of a little upset that the fact that students are able to bring a person with them, a guest with them, and there aren't even enough tickets or spaces for graduating 3Os. So just something for them to consider in the future. I think it would be nice for, I think it's a nice event for 3Os, but it would be nice to get as many 3Os together as possible. So just to think about that in the future. And then secondly, I'm sorry, what was it? Secondly, it was about 3Os and just stoles and stuff. I wrote this in the office too, but just some 3L representatives were just kind of interested in knowing, do SBA get stoles for graduation? and or cords or anything like that to kind of commemorate and just like memorialize our positions in SBA.
Right on the, well, for as far as the boat cruise and the Red Sox game, that's something we can definitely have social affairs do in future years going forward, or see if that's something they can look into because
I know
that's,
Matt is
yeah,
at the moment. He's like still looking to see if he can spread it.
right, because that's a great point that it should be a 3L thing. It should be like limited to 3Ls first because it's, you know,
Like,
celebrating. Yeah.
I think
And then as far as the graduation regalia for 3Ls, I'm also very interested in knowing if that's something that is offered. That was supposed to be something I asked the deans about yesterday in our meeting, which got pushed to tomorrow. So that will be addressed and I'll have an answer for you very soon.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
we yield our time to 2 hours.
Yes, we do. Sorry.
Yeah, I just have one quick thing. So with the upcoming elections, like I know a lot of us are running for other positions in the SBA, and you know a lot of us are friends, and we're also in SBA together. I don't know if the elections committee could come in and kind of maybe do like a Q&A about like, oh, like if I say vote for Matt for whatever, am I going to disqualify both of us? Because you know that stuff.
We're meeting with elections this week,
Oh, cool.
and we're gonna iron out the
Thank you.
details
Yeah,
regarding campaigning and the spring elections.
thank you so
So
much.
there'll be, and also we'll be having the information sessions, they'll be planning them and then creating the handbooks and all that stuff, so,
Thank you.
more to come.
Thank you, because I was like reading that section in the handbook, and it was very small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's small, it's unclear. I read over it a lot.
Okay,
over
I
the
just-
past, semester, but it's just, I also asked the elections chair to look into revising that altogether.
Okay.
Outside of providing clarification, because I feel like as student representatives, yes, there is an argument that there could be favoritism among us. Like I said though before, like we spend all year long together, I could see the camaraderie that we build, but we're also the ones doing the work. And so we're the ones that are in the best positions to be able to say what the position requires or offer endorsements. And so I want to see if there's some way that we can do that and still address the concerns about maybe favoritism or using our positions to like further advertise ourselves. And because that's not also like the goal. We don't want to be like, oh, I'm a rep, therefore I have to continue to be a rep. But we also don't want to like tie one hand behind our backs or make it so that people who are in the positions are at a disadvantage when they're running.
Yeah, 'cause it's like if you run for someone will be like, oh, aren't you an SBA? You know, like, I don't know.
You
Like,
can't say no.
yeah,
They are students,
yeah.
yeah, you have to identify yourself as a rep.
Yeah.
So yeah,
yeah.
it's a conflict and
Okay.
it's something that I know comes up every single year. Every time there's an election, there's
Okay.
at least 2 or 3 issues. So
Okay, so then yeah, I don't mean to.
yeah, no, it's something that we're gonna look into, seeing if it can be changed altogether.
The wheels are time. Right? Oh no, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
I think we yield our time.
We also yielded time.
So with that, we move on from representative reports to old business. I don't think there is any. So we move on to new business, which is the bill first. Okay, so.
So we have a bill up for a vote today regarding when the chief justice election happens. We're not actually changing anything, we're just mostly correcting the constitution because there's an error that says that the election happens at the second to last GA meeting, which is impossible because the new e-board and representatives are not yet elected at the second to last GA meeting, and it's always happened at the last GA meeting. So that's all this bill is. It's just correcting that language to say that the chief justice shall be elected by the General Assembly at its last regularly scheduled meeting of the spring semester. Do any of y'all have any comments? Okay.
Motion to vote.
Okay, all those in favor of amending the constitution with this language? cover them. Opposed?
I'll just abstain.
Okay. The bill passes with a vote of 13-0 to 1. 14-0.
So with that, and we move on to the next item on the agenda, which I don't actually have. The executive orders. Oh, so with that, you may have seen a couple of executive orders that went out over the last, they're not any new announcements. I think the only new appointment was ACDC chair. So they are now co-chair with Sierra Mortimer. So the other two were for DEI, Lily Cook and then Morgan Wise. So I think both of those are announced before break. So those are just the official executive orders that went out and they're posted to campus. With that, we move to announcements. And then we move to.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I'm a little bit scatterbrained and I forgot to say everything I meant to during my turn to speak, so I'll say it during public comment. I wanted to also explain my personal experience with the school. Last semester, when I went to them and told them that I knew that the ADA applied in a given situation that it was viable, they retaliated against me by removing my accommodations right before finals. This is my personal experience. I got my accommodations back, but I wanted to make people aware of how dire it is and that if you have accommodations or you want accommodations, Christopher Kennedy or Chip is a great resource. He's genuinely trying to help. ACPC can also help. And retaliation is very, very illegal. That was the piece I forgot to mention. That's all.
And I'd just like to generally echo that now that you're in a position, you have all the authority to be able to really advocate for students on that behalf directly with administration. And just if there's any sort of retaliation that you know of or that you hear of from students that they're receiving from an administration from just exercising just their rights or just being here at school and wanting to make certain changes or trying to advocate for certain things, please direct them to us and let us know, because guys, there's power in numbers. You all, like, it's so much easier to come as a collective and say, hey, we're all having these issues and something that needs to be changed overall, even if it is just happening to one or two people, because those one or two people are still members of our student body and it can happen to any of us and it shouldn't be happening to just them. It shouldn't be happening to them anyway. So with that, we all need to come together, and the SBA that's what this is for. We're the student bar association. We're here representing the whole school. And so if those things are happening, that's something we need to know. If some people are being retaliated against because they're going to administration about something, that's something we need to know, because we can get behind and we can shed light and shed some transparency on the situation and hold more accountability. It's a lot easier for all of us to say what's going on, and it's harder for them to ignore all of us than it is for them to be retaliated against or harming one student behind the scenes. So if that is something that is happening, we definitely want to know about it. Please, 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 please tell us. Wow, okay.
That was nothing to do with retaliation. I just talking about accommodations and stuff. I've heard from a number of 1L reps, 1L students that they have applied for accommodations that have not always been granted, or like just outrightly denied, and it's often to their surprise because other schools, other universities, or even other law schools have done that in the past. And so that's just something that I wanted to put out there, that even if they have all the documentations and all the legitimate, reasons for them to receive accommodations, like the school is still denying them to a lot of our student body.
So like when it comes to accommodations, they require updated testing, and that is like thousands of dollars. It can run you at least $2,500. So without that updated testing and no financial aid from school, it's not going to get that.
and the months-long wait list it takes in order to get that evaluation, it's also hindering students from getting
And if this has an overall effect on student performance and leads to some academic dismissals, we don't need to verify it.
that was just gonna be my comment, was even after some people go through literally all of those steps, they still deny them. And then they fail out because obviously they can't take them under normal conditions because they need accommodations.
So I'm sorry if I don't articulate myself correctly, but the only word that I can think of to like describe the situation is just kind of like ridiculous for various reasons. First, a lot of students are getting accommodations initially, like for one semester, and then all of a sudden for the second semester, they're like, sorry, you need all this extra documentation. So for me, it doesn't make sense to provide accommodations for one semester. How is it enough for one semester and then not enough thereafter? And also echoing what Kanishka said, the accommodations that the school is asking for is like above and beyond anything like I've personally seen. So I don't need accommodations, but I qualify for accommodations. And for the LSAT and for undergrad, like the things that they ask for are completely different, or like the amount of documentation that they're asking for. How is it enough to fulfill the LSAT requirements when you're taking the LSAT, but not for school? So we've talked about this issue before, but just kind of like echoing everybody. It's just the only word in my mind is ridiculous. So just my 2 cents.
Thank you for everyone saying this. These are things I hope to get brought up to speed on. I guess we'll see her at length. I also wanted to say that I don't know the timeline of these events, but I do know that now that Chip is here, things have gotten much better. So my understanding from people I've spoken to who are also students is that a lot of these kind of questionable, ridiculous is the right word, things happened pre-Chip. Chip is good. People should go to him. If people are still having trouble, by all means, reach out to ACDC. That's what we're here for. But I trust him, and he has been making sure the school, at the bare minimum, complies with the ADA, which in my experience, again, has meant not needing updated testing. That's news to me entirely. Obviously, again, I can't speak to the lived experience, but I think it goes to show the lack of consistency again, because they didn't require any of that from me. And is it because I'm well spoken and white? You know, maybe, but there's something happening here and we'll look into it.
Representative Williams.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, are you guys able to bring up these concerns tomorrow at your meeting with the deans? Because I think it should be addressed, because in a sense, it kind of mirrors a lot of the problems that we have with administration, and it centers around that same idea of just diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this one really touches on that equity like part, like fair treatment, access, opportunity. Like, and I know our school is very, very, very into bar prep and different things like that, and our advancement with that. But even with that, it's like you're not going to get the results you want. You're not going to be advancing if you're not hitting these marks. No one's going to want to keep pouring into an institution. No one's going to want to come to an institution if this is all that it's producing, and this is what they're saying to their students. So I think you should definitely just raise that, because you know it all mirrors, and it's like they're saying something without saying something, and the students are being affected, and they're definitely clearly getting a message across. And I think it's kind of like a slap in the face to kind of say, even if they say like, oh, well, talk to this person about it or talk to this person about it, it's the dean's problem. Because even if the other people are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, the deans need to make sure that the problem is fixed and they're solved and they're on top of it. So I mean, we all know that we've been seeing problems like this since my 1 year. So I think if you guys can, to just bring it up tomorrow, because it's kind of frustrating that it's the same thing every year in a different form or in a different capacity.
Yeah, you're providing my agenda for tomorrow. That's literally what I thought of as we're saying, because these are very similar problems that we're having with even on the DEI front, especially with like faculty and things that have happened. And just in response to that, it's an overall just disregard for students, and it's almost like they're like, this is the policy, and then everyone just, yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow for sure.
Also, we're meeting with DEI on Friday, so we'll also talk about it then too.
Oh, I was just gonna say, when you do talk to the teams, you could also mention that this affects people when it comes with the scholarship and they're not having a second decision on it, and especially if they're not given accommodations, they say they don't fail out, but they don't do well, then they're also ripped from the scholarship. But, you know, Daisy P. Navarro, now in the organizations. Sorry. Yes, as she said, if it's costing thousands of dollars to do this testing, you're also ripping the finance for law school out. It's just not a good look.
I don't have experience with this, but I've heard people speak about it in the hallways about how they've had it revoked, and it seems to be pissing a lot of people off, just generally, not people in this room. So if I can hear that just walking down the hallway, there's probably enough merit to it.
I think the problem is that they don't walk down the hallways, that they're not here actually on campus, hardly interacting with students, and so they don't necessarily know, and that they don't so conveying that to them and letting them know that I've already told them like the rising level of frustration, but now it's to the point where there needs to be more done than just that.
I also think that some of the issues, I would recommend that you or sit down and talk to Professor Mariani. I spoke with her a lot, and she has a lot of behind the scenes info that she's comfortable sharing now that she has found another job for next semester. And she can explain a lot of why things are the way they are. And unfortunately, I don't think that it's as much as they don't know. I think that they can get away with it, and we need to show them that they can't. And I will follow up more privately about specific things she said. But yeah, I'm glad that this is all coming together on that.
Absolutely, and just next week, the next meeting, something that we were talking about drafting is just a general statement or resolution to come from the SBA, and it sounds like this is an issue affecting literally all students in every facet. Every committee is like involved in this, faculty has things, and it's overall just lack of connection, and it's their forward-facing administration and this wall up, and it's hard to get to them, and so we're just for that to come and for the draft. That all these concerns will be addressed tomorrow. As far as public comment, anyone else for public comment?
Yes, I do. I do have one. It's an announcement, not in my representative capacity, but putting on my BOSA hat. BOSA, we are having a event on March 27th for 1Ls. And it's really just for 1Ls, and it's not just for BOSA members or people who are identified with the organization or the affinity group, but it's really to help 1Ls with registration, concentration. We'll learn more about the concentrations, electives, and different things like that, and just kind of know the ins and the outs of registrations, professors, classes, bar classes, and things like that. So that event is going to take place on March 27th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. And we will post more about the event on Friday on the bulletin boards at school, but also on our Canvas page. So just feel free to share the information because we really want to get a lot of 1Ls there. Thank you.
Actually, a really good idea. 1L rest, is that something that you think you can announce to your classes and drop in the classes as well?
Yeah.
Is there like a flyer or something just made that we can?
Yes, I will drop it in the chat for you all.
Thank you. Any more public comment? Any other public comment?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Wow. I know, that's when I looked up.
Oh.